Yo, what is up, everybody in the live stream? So today it's gonna be me and Juan. Juan's coming in here any second right now. We're gonna be previewing the game, so we're gonna go through the injury report. Also gonna be talking about some of the roster moves that were made today. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And then of course, like always, we will be doing our score predictions, our kind of keys to victory, and then we will do our stat predictions at the end of the game. So like I said, Juan's gonna get in here any second right now, and yeah, we're gonna talk about the injury report, like I said, and the moves that we made today, which included elevating Javon Leak to the active roster. So or Javon Leak, sorry. Javon Leak is actually a really good special teams player, and who knows, maybe he'll be doing kick returns and punt returns for us. That would be, and maybe he can provide a spark there. Okay, so we're gonna first start with the injury report. Nothing major, but if we look at it, Antonio Gibson out. That does suck, but again, that was expected. So, hopefully, I'm still doubtful, but hopefully he can come back for the Seahawks game and maybe the Panthers game because we're gonna need him at some point in the season if we want to make the playoffs. Morgan Moses questionable. He was limited all week, but I do expect him to play. He does this every week. Hey, what is up, Burgundy and Gold fan all day, aka Skins fan all day. Shout out to Burgundy and Gold fan all day. Always coming in here. Make sure you guys check out his channel. One of the best Washington YouTubers out there. Yes, Nick Bosa is out for this game. He's been out for almost the whole season. Debo Samuel is playing. So let's look at the rest of our guys. Sheriff, same situation as Moses. I expect them both to play. David Sharp, questionable. We'll see. Not really big deal. Maybe he won't play, and that's why they added what's his name? David Steinmetz from the practice squad. And then Ryan Anderson or Terry McLaurin's all good. He isn't even on the injury report. He's all good to go. He's gonna play this game. What's up, King Sean? What's up, Tao and Ho? What's up, Iman? What's up? Let's see, Christian. What's up, Eric? So yeah, Juan should get on here any second right now. And then Ryan Anderson actually got put on IR, so he's going to be out for pretty much the rest of the season. He could come back for the last game of the season or for the playoffs, but another second round pick by the Washington football team that did not work out. So the San Francisco 49ers, Tom Compton, a tackle. Not sure if he's a starter or not, but he's out. Kevin Givens is out because of a personal issue. I think his wife had a kid. He's out. DJ Jones, D tackle, doubtful, so he's not going to play. Same with Emmanuel Mosley. They both didn't practice all week. Really doubtful that they play at all. And then let's see. And then Kawan Williams is questionable. That's a corner. And so if both of these corners are out, they're going to be a little bit thin at that position. And then one of their centers is out. So they've got a bunch of injuries. And, they're starting to get a little bit healthy. But still, I mean, they don't have Solomon Thomas. They don't have, who else? Nick Bosa. And they just got Richard Sherman back. So I'm going to go add Juan is in here, and we're going to get his reaction to the injury report for both us and the 49ers. So what's up, Juan?
What's going on, Pedro? Thank you for having me. My fault, man. My computer was a little slow getting on. So I'm a
No,
little
you're good. You're good.
yeah.
You're good. So what's your reaction? Like, what do you think about the injury report, ours and the 49ers?
Well, without injury report, obviously we knew Antonio Gibson wasn't going to play, so that's no, surprise to us, obviously, because he's dealing with the turf toe. And like you said, like I was listening to him before I got on. You were like you were hoping that he can come back for the Seattle game. That is what I'm hoping for. But just like you, I'm doubtful that he will come back because turf toe was a little tricky. And as we seen with Steven Sims early in the season, we knew that he was going to miss some time, and he didn't come back. We didn't see Steven Sims even at practice for like a month. You know what I'm saying? So although people heal differently and injuries tend to be different on different bodies, as we know with turf toe, it's a little tricky. So I'm hoping he can come back for the Seattle game, but it's more than likely that he won't come back into Philly, or even if we make the playoffs, which I hope we do, he'll come back for the wild card game.
Yeah, I mean, Gibson, I think it definitely is a big loss. I just think it won't be that big of a loss if we use the run game correctly. If we, I think Barber's all right. I mean, he can get those tough yards, but I don't want to have, if I'd rather have McKissick running it on 1st and 10 than Barber. Just I think McKissick is a lot better with those long yardage situations. If you need 1-2 yards, then it's Barber all day. You're giving it to Barber, but McKissick on 1st down, I'd rather give it to him. Obviously, on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, you want him to be in the passing game, but I want to see McKissick get at the minimum 8 carries this game. What do you think?
Yeah, but I actually even answered that question. King Sean had a good question and said, "What is turf toe?" Turf toe is basically the jamming of your big toe, and trust me, it is painful. You don't want to get it. Now, I know you're probably thinking, "Lan, it's not a big injury, man. Trust me. Try not functioning without your big toe. Your big toe is literally what holds your weight down, and it's painful, man. So." It sucks that Antonio Gibson is going through that right now, but trust me, it is painful. Like I said, it's basically a jamming of the big toe and basically a sprained big toe. So that's something that you do not want. But to answer your question, normally that's what J.D. McKissick seems to get, 8 carries. But actually, with Antonio Gibson being out, I expect him to get at least 15 carries. And I know that means a lot and sounds like a lot, but since he's going to be taking over, and I assume that he's going to take over the number 1 role, filling in for Antonio Gibson's absence. And I also have a big bold statement about J.D. McKissick, but we'll get to that later when we predict his stats. But I think he's going to have a big, long workload.
So I just looked. McKissick is averaging 4.5 carries a game. So he needs to get more, in my opinion. He needs to get a lot more than he is getting. And yeah, we'll see. And the thing with turf toe is like quarterbacks. If they get turf toe, like Philip Rivers is dealing with some like form of it, he's able to play through it because he's not really relying on his toe. Like he's not, running the ball upfield and, making jukes and, changing direction real quick. He's not doing that. Gibson, any receivers, they have to do that. So quarterbacks, they can play through it, but that's pretty much one of the only positions that can. So hopefully Gibson is back. Again, the chances aren't good for next week, but still, that would be nice. And I think there is an okay chance of him being back against Carolina. And the reason I say that is because, yeah, normally turf toe is a 3 to 4 week injury. The thing is, though, I think that if it was, the thing that gives me hope is that if it was a serious case of turf toe, they would have put him on IR immediately, or within the next couple of days. So that's going to be something to monitor because, Steven Sims actually played through it 1 week, and then he tried to practice through it, and then they put him on IR. So let's see what happens with Gibson. Hopefully, if he's not on IR after next week, then I think it's looking good. He might be back for that Carolina game. So yeah, that's the injury report. And then real quick, we made some roster moves today. We signed David Steinmetz from the practice squad. We elevated him. Javon Leake, we elevated him from the practice squad. And then Ryan Anderson is on IR. So he's probably out for the year. We'll see what happens with him. And I'm excited to see what Javon Leake can do. I'm going to be interested to see if they give him those kick return and punt return reps. Going to be interesting to see that. And, I would not be mad if they gave him a couple carries, because he's like a home run hitter. So if you can get a play where there's some big holes, he might be able to break it. And whereas like Peyton Barber, he might just be more consistent. He might get that 5-6 yard gain, but Javon Leake might get that big run.
Yeah, with Javon Leaks, I've seen, how he plays. Obviously, he's a Maryland Terp, so I pay close attention to him or actually did pay close attention to him. With Javon Leaks and how he fits on this team, I don't see him having a big workload unless we knock on wood. I'm not even gonna put that in the atmosphere, but you guys know what I'm about to say. Unless somebody gets knocked up, he won't see the field. And as far as kick return and punt return duties, I don't want to see him back there because I feel like Danny Johnson is doing well. Is Danny Johnson still? I think he's still returning kicks, not punts. I know Steven
Yeah,
Sims are
Steven
punts.
Sims is doing the punts.
Yeah, Steven Sims is on the punts and Danny Johnson is on the kicks. And Danny Johnson, believe it or not, he's actually been doing solid with kick returns when he gets the chance. And I feel like sooner or later he's gonna break one. And Steven Sims, I trust him more with punts, especially fielding. He doesn't even have to run or make an attempt to score with his punts. Just as long as he can field it, that's what I look more. And I trust him more than the new guy Javon Leake. So not saying that he can't play, but I just don't see him having a big workload.
Yeah, I agree with you. And what's up, ProTech? What is up, Skinspan? And yeah, most likely you're not going to get a big workload. We'll see what happens with that. If he gets a couple kick return reps, they might give him the rock a couple of times if they need a spark. If they're not getting anything on offense in that first half, and there's really nothing to lose, they might give him a couple of carries. So let's go on to this game, this huge game in the NFC East, because if we win, not even in the NFC East, in the wild card picture, because if we win, we're in a good spot, for the wild card and in the division. And we'll see about the Giants. I don't know if they match up well with the Cardinals, and the Cardinals, this is like a must-win game for the Cardinals, not necessarily for the Giants. So I think this could be a game, maybe, that the Cardinals win. It's going to be a close game. I also think Daniel Jones, I don't think he's fully healthy. They're not going to be like, how not a huge part of his game, but he takes a couple runs every game, and that's a huge, like, they get a couple first downs a game off of that. I mean, you saw in our game, he got a 50-plus yard run. You saw in the game against the Eagles, he almost scored a touchdown. And in the other Eagles game, he did score a touchdown. He's definitely not going to be, or I don't think he's going to be able to do that in that game. And if he does, he might re-aggravate that, injury. And who knows? He's on like a 2 or 3 game streak where he hasn't turned the ball over. That might change. And if it does, I think that they could lose that game. I think it's going to be close. We'll see. What do you think?
Yeah, to actually refute your argument with Daniel Jones, and honestly, his running ability is a big part of his game in their offense. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't know that as much as last year, but now, as you've seen, prior to the hamstring injury, their running attack, or he's really able to use his legs. You know what I'm saying? They call him Vanilla Vic. I wouldn't go that far, but he is able to use his legs. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big part of their game. And like you said, the re-aggravate a hamstring is really high, and I don't know if he's 100%. But considering the fact that he was moving around and walking around during the same game that he hurt the hamstring, and then to have a full week off, and then to say Joe Judge say that he was doing good in practice and stuff like that. I wouldn't say that he's not 100%, or I would say he is 100%. We don't know. We have to wait and see how he plays, and hopefully they don't pick up the win. You know what I'm saying? It would be huge if they don't pick up the win, because then if we win, then we take sole possession of first place. And another game that we have to keep an eye on, that I know we're probably most likely going to talk about more later in the show, is that the Minnesota Vikings versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Because let's just say the Giants do win and we win. I hope the Giants don't win. Let's pray that they don't and pray that we take care of business. But if they win and we win, we're now in the wild card, the 7th seed, and they now on the 4th seed. So another game that we have to keep an eye on is the Minnesota Vikings versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, and I think if we win this game against the 49ers, I think we have a very good shot of making the playoffs. Honestly, this is going to be, even though their record is 5-7, they don't really necessarily match up the best with us. They have a really good run game, and we haven't, at least, not yet really, we haven't been able to stop a good rushing attack, not yet, or not in a while. I mean, you look at the last, 3-ish teams we've played. The Bengals did not have Joe Mixon. They had Giovanni Bernard, who is okay, but they barely ran the ball. The Cowboys, they don't have a great running back. They have an okay or running game. They have an okay running game. It's a little bit down. We did good against them, and then same against the Steelers. They didn't have Connor. So last time we played against a good running game, or yeah, against the Giants, Wayne Gallman and Alfred Morris, gashed us. So hopefully we can contain the run game. That's going to be one of the biggest keys in this game, making it so that it's third and long, instead of third and three. Because if you make it third and three, third and two, then Kyle Shanahan is going to have a lot of different ways where he can get that first down. If you got a third and six, third and seven, then you can drop four or have four. Yeah, go ahead. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely, man. I definitely agree with you on that front. Is that we definitely have to take care of the run, and like you said, like you alluded to your point, that we didn't stop the run. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we stopped the run for the past 3 weeks, but look who we were going up against: the Dallas Cowboys, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's actually 4 right there, to just say the least of the the run game that we played against. So to say about the run game, I don't know that we stopped the run. I think that we, limit their run, but I don't think we stop the run because their run game is just too good. Raheem Mostert is a good running back. And to look at it again, like you said, we held the Pittsburgh Steelers, whose run game is awful. They pass literally on every single play. They're literally one-dimensional. The Bengals, they didn't have their best running back in Joe Mixon. We bottled them up. Then to look at the Dallas Cowboys again, we bottled them up. So they're not good running teams, but now with the San Francisco 49ers, this is the game where we have to prove if we really can stop the run. But I don't think we're going to stop it, but I don't think they're going to have a big day. I think we're going to limit them from having the big day. You know what I'm saying? But not completely shut it down.
Yeah, what's up, Avion? And yeah, I mean, I'm not saying our run defense is bad because, we have had a couple of games. The last few games we've done pretty well stopping the run against, the Cowboys, who, Zeke is a great back, but their O-line's a little shaky. That's why their run game isn't that great this year. We were able to shut down the Steelers. They averaged 1.5 yards per carry, and we shut down the Bengals. So hopefully we can keep them to under 120 yards. That's my thing right there. Around there, if we can keep them to under 120 yards, I'll be satisfied right there. Another key to victory is we're gonna have to fluster. We're gonna have to fluster Nick Follins. Nick Mullins, sorry. Get after him, force him to throw some bad throws. Not necessarily sacks. Sacks are going to be nice. If we can get a few sacks, that's good. But if we can force him to get some terrible throws, I mean, he is not that great. He's serviceable, but when he has pressure, he's not that great. I mean, against the Eagles, when the Eagles were actually in first place and we really needed them to lose. The Nick Mullins threw one interception, and at the end of the game, he threw a pick six when he was getting pressured. One of the worst picks I've ever seen. So we need to fluster him, get to the quarterback, force some turnovers on defense. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I really do think we need to get pressure in his face. And like I said in my video, that they smell blood in the water anytime they go up against a backup quarterback, honestly. And I know Nick Mullins isn't their backup quarterback as of right now, but obviously if Jimmy Garoppolo was healthy, he would be the backup. And anytime we play against guys that aren't, their quarterback, in the sense Nick Mullins, we smell blood in the water. And I'm not saying we're going to have a big sack day, but I think we at least going to have 3, which in some people's eyes are big. But anytime we play against backup quarterbacks, Jack Del Rio smell bloods in the water, and so does our defense.
Yeah, so we'll see what we do. Just get some pressure there, Montez Sweat, Chase Young. And, a lot of the reason why we didn't get really many sacks against the Steelers, yes, Big Ben gets the ball out quick, but, I was listening to a film breakdown, and it looks like our defensive linemen were coached to get their hands up quicker than they normally do because they knew he was going to get it out quick. So instead of trying to, get to the quarterback, they would put their hands up and try to block the pass. And we got a lot of block passes. So that was a good game plan by Jack Del Rio and Sam Mills. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. What is another key to victory that you have, Juan?
Key to victory that we tend to talk about every week is that this team needs to get off to a faster start. I made a community post in my community and said if this team can get off to a better start in the first half, more specifically the first quarter, and then more specifically even more than that, the first drive, these games would be blowouts in my opinion. So this team needs to get off to a faster start, more specifically in the first quarter, and more specifically again the first drive.
Yeah, I mean, we're the number one. I tweeted this out. We're the number one second half team in the NFL. That is insane. And we're the second worst in the first half. So let's hope we finally score on our first possession. That's embarrassing that we haven't done that this year. Got to do that. And what I say almost every week is that if we can be down by one score or less at halftime, I'm satisfied with that because I know we're going to come out playing really well. Our adjustments in the second half and our defense is lights out in the second half this year, especially in the third quarter. So that's what I want to do. Like Juan said, got to start out fast. Let's score 7+ points in the first half. Got to do that. 7+ points. Make it so it's less than or one or less score game. That's what we got to do so that we don't have to be chasing them chasing them from 20 points because they've got a good run game. So they can, and not only do they have a great run game, they have a really good offensive minded coach. So he's going to be able to scheme stuff up and waste a bunch of time. So we cannot dig ourselves into a hole. What is another key to victory you have?
Another key to victory that I had is that we need to do a good job of getting our playmakers the ball. You know what I'm saying? With Antonio Gibson going down, I think we don't have to give Terry McLaurin the ball, but more specifically use him like we did in the Pittsburgh game. I don't think another defense like Pittsburgh will ever face this season, well, at least this season. I think other teams are going to try to mimic what Pittsburgh has done or did last game, which was take Terry McLaurin completely out of this game. But I don't think they're going to be able to do it because they don't have the talent that the Pittsburgh Steelers possess on the back end. So like I said, we need to get our playmakers the ball, and that's Terry McLaurin, number one. If we don't give him the ball, use him as a decoy like we did in Pittsburgh. And what that allowed Logan Thomas to go off. That allowed J.D. McKissick. That allowed Cam Sims to have his best game. So give our playmakers the ball. Don't literally mean give them the ball, but use them in the game plan on every single play. Alex Smith, your first key should be to give Terry McLaurin the ball. And if he doesn't get the ball, at least use him as a decoy to, open up for other receivers or halfbacks on this team. That is the other key that I have is give playmakers the ball.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to see Cam Sims get the ball more this game. He needs to get more targets, in my opinion. I mean, he's averaging, I'm not sure exactly, but it's got to be like 18, 19, 20 plus yards per catch, which is insane. So get him the ball, even if it's just screens like we did last game a couple of times. Give him the ball and then a deep shot or two in the game because when he catches the ball, he is able to, really, really do some damage. So let's see. Another key to victory. Got to do good in the red zone, both offensively and defensively. Make sure that you are able to get these points in the red zone, which we, did okay last week. And then also defensively, keep being that number one red zone defense in the NFL. And yeah, Brian, that's going to be an interesting matchup. Chase Young versus Trent Williams slash, Montez Sweat might be in there too sometimes. So, what do you think about that matchup, Juan?
What, Montez Sweat or Chase Young?
Or Chase Young versus Trent Williams, even Montez Sweat, throw him in there too.
Yeah, I think Chase Young is going to get a sack this game. But guys, let's humble ourselves because let's not act like Trent Williams wasn't the best left tackle in all the football when he was here. Let's not trash him because he's on the 49ers. I think Chase Young will get one sack on him, but I think Trent Williams is going to teach him a lesson and tell him, hey, I'm still the best left tackle in all the football, if not the best, top 5, obviously. And I feel like he's going to take him to school on some plays. But I think when it's all said and done, Chase Young is going to get the better of it.
Yeah, hopefully. And hopefully, it would be nice if he could get a sack or, something. some pressures like he has in the last couple weeks. Roaring Flames AGG is not active, but he might. I think I'm liking what I'm hearing in practice and stuff. He had a really, really good practice. Ron Rivera was like glowing when he was talking about them. That's what they were saying. So that I'm excited about that. He's had a long time to recover from that hamstring injury. Maybe he watched a bunch of film. That's probably what he was doing, and I'm excited to see what he can do. Thank you so much, Vat American, for the $10 donation. Haven't been this excited about the direction of our team since Joe Gibbs 2.0. I didn't even get this feeling after the 2012 season. Our D hasn't been this good since. Yeah, I mean, I agree. The direction of this team, regardless of if we make the playoffs, is the direction is really good for this team because we've got an amazing defense already. We're already ranked top 5 in most categories right now defensively, and then you add that our holes are position players, really like Bostic and a couple other players that are older players. Bostic, Thomas Davis, our linebacking core besides Holcomb. So our core, our young core, Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Kendall Fuller, Cole Holcomb, Cameron Curl, they're all super young, and just the development alone of those players will probably get us into a top 4 defense next year, or even better. You add in a linebacker in the draft or in free agency, and maybe another corner or safety, and this defense could be scary next year. I mean, they already are scary, but they're going to continue to get better. And we really don't have any free agents on the defensive side of the ball besides Darby. And I hope we get him back. But besides him, and even if we lose Darby, we can go ahead and get another cornerback. So I'm really excited about this defense because I think they're legit. I think that they're going to continue to get better. And we have a lot of depth on that defense. And then offensively, we got Terry, who's a elite receiver. Gibson, who looks like he's going to be one of the better backs in the NFL. You got a way better than expected offensive line. I mean, you have Sheriff, who's been playing at a Pro Bowl level. Moses started out really good, has been playing a little bit worse lately, but still a good right tackle. And then Wes Schweitzer, a good offseason signing, been solid for us. And then Chase Roulier also been solid. So make some re-sign a couple of those players. And then Logan Thomas and J.D. McKissick have been pleasant surprises. So, and the best thing is we have, unlike the Eagles, we have the chance to choose our franchise quarterback. And that franchise quarterback, whoever it is, if it's a younger guy, we're going to be able to have them sit behind Alex Smith. So I know that was a lot, but what do you think about the direction and the future of this team?
Yeah, the direction and the future of this team is phenomenal, man. And honestly, I think we showed up 1 year earlier than I expected. I expected us to really compete in 2021, and now I'm not saying 5-7 is where I want to be, but considering the fact that the start of this season, what everybody thought us and what everybody thought of the division as a whole, to consider the fact that we are competing and we're playing meaningful football in December, it's crazy. Like I said, this team showed up 1 year earlier than I expected. Now this defense, it's only going to get better. This defense is young, and you said that even if we don't get Darby back, we can also draft the cornerback or get one in free agency. Darby's a lockup. If he doesn't come back, then I'm going to start to question the offense because Darby has been playing out of his mind since we signed him. Yes, I understand he got burned in the Cowboys game. We know he got burned. He's not a man-to-man corner. So what did you guys expect? When Ronald Darby is playing his zone and when he's has to have his matchups one-on-one, he wins them. But when he have to go up against guys that's faster than him in one-on-one situations, that's when he loses. And that game, this can be a little scary because he plays Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, who are both speedy receivers. But to get back on track with the direction of this team, I'm so happy for it. And like Fat American said, I haven't had this feeling since 2012 after we won the division in the fashion that we won. Because why? It's similar to what this season has held. We started off slow, and then we strung together 6 straight in that 2012 season, and hopefully we can finish out on that same note into the playoffs and actually, do some damage in the playoffs. So the direction of this team, man, I can't be more excited about it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure exactly, but it might have been 7 straight. Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody in the chat. So if we win out, which would be crazy, of course, I don't. It definitely could happen, but I'm not necessarily expecting it to happen. That would be 7 straight. So that would be insane. Again, appreciate the donation, Fat American. It helps out a ton. And another thing, again, you guys all know me. I was a huge, and what's up, Reggie Reg? How you doing, man? I was a huge Dwayne Haskins guy. I really liked him, and I really thought he should have gotten more time. I mean, that's obviously my reaction when it happened. Obviously, right now, I love Alex Smith, or even when Kyle Allen was starting over Dwayne Haskins. But um, you know, if we would have had Alex Smith or Kyle Allen for a full season this year, I think it would have been a whole different story. And the Alex situation is a little bit different because, he kind of had to ease himself back in. I think that Rams game was really important for him to kind of get the jitters out in a game that I wouldn't say we already lost when he came in, because it was a one-score game, I believe, or it might have been 10 points. But he got to get that experience. He got to get his feet wet. And he came back against the Giants, and he did throw 3 picks, but those picks were mental mistakes, and that's not really what Alex Smith does. And he showed that he could still play football. So I think next year, if you just brought back this same team, this same exact team we have right now, brought him back next year, I think we would win 9 games plus. 8 like, considering injuries or anything, 8+ games and make the playoffs. And that's without adding anyone. If you add players, I think Alex Smith with a full season, we really could make the playoffs next year, regardless if the Giants are better than us or not, because we'll be able to make the wild card. And another thing that's even better is that the division, besides the Giants, they're going in the wrong direction. I mean, the Eagles are completely screwed. I mean, they're pretty much having a tryout right now for Jalen Hurts the end of the season. And we'll see what happens with him. I mean, I think they're still going to try to do it with Wentz, but I don't know if it can be repaired. I mean, he's been terrible this year, and I think a lot of it has been his mental because of them drafting Jalen Hurts. So I don't know if he's going to be able to overcome that. And if he is not able to overcome that, they are really screwed because they have so much money tied into him. And they not only him, they got a ton of money tied into older players. Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey, Fletcher Cox is still great, but they got a lot of money there. A lot of other players that they have in. So, and the Cowboys, again, they got a lot of bad contracts. And if Dak doesn't come back, they're screwed. They're going to have a top pick, but still, it's going to take them a while to get back, to what they want to be. So, and what's up, Philip? So, what is now going back to the game? What is your prediction? Give me your score prediction for this game.
My score prediction for this game, although like I've been saying all week, for some reason, guys, and I hope I'm completely 100% wrong, but for some reason, I'm getting a Lions game vibe from this game. I feel like that this team is going to do everything that they're supposed to do to win this game, but then come up short of mental mistakes down the stretch. But honestly, the way this team has been playing, I can't go against them. Although I'm getting a Lions game vibe from this game because it's a game we're supposed to win, but we don't end up taking care of business. This time, I think we do take care of business. And I think the Washington football team, although I'm having doubts about this game, I know I shouldn't have doubts because we're coming off a great win versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to take Washington to win this game 31-20 in a close game, but then Washington pulls away late in the fourth quarter.
Okay, yeah, I'm a little bit scared of this game just matchup wise. I don't like necessarily the matchup. I really think even though the Seahawks are a way better team than the 49ers, I like that matchup for us because Wilson, or I'll say not Wilson, but I'll say the Seahawks don't do good with pressure. Their offensive line is not great. So, and they're not very good at running the football. So I think that game we have a solid chance of winning that game. We really, really do. I also think we have a solid chance of winning this game. Don't necessarily like the matchup, but I'm going to say 24-21 Washington. Hopefully we pull it away. I think it's going to be a close game. Hey, Burgundy Gold fan all day, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Yes, we need to win this game. We need to win one of the next two to make the playoffs. And I really, not necessarily, guys, obviously, we could win the division at 7-9. It is going to be hard, but we can do it. I just don't want to go into that Seahawks game with that must-win mentality. Want to win this game, get it out the way. If you win the Seahawks game, hey, that's a bonus, but you got to win. I think 7 is obviously the minimum. 7 is the minimum to win the division. It's probably going to be 8. We'll see the way the Giants are playing. We'll really get a better sense of the division if after tomorrow, if the Giants win, then, I'll have them winning 1 to 2 more games. If they lose, though, they have the Browns, the Ravens, and the Cowboys remaining. So if they lose and they don't look that good, I could see them only winning 1 more game. But like you said, this is a must-win game, and I think it's going to be a close game. Hopefully we pull it out, and at the very least, let's keep this at a competitive game. But I got us winning 24-21. So now on to our stat predictions for this game. So let's start with Alex Smith. This is a tough one. So last week he had about 296. I think he's gonna have a decent amount of passing yards just because don't have Gibson. So not gonna be able to run the ball as much as you usually do. So I'm gonna say do you know how many completions he had last week?
Honestly, I'll just say I don't, but I feel like it was more in the 30s. I'm gonna look it up right quick. I feel like it was in the 30s, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna look it up right quick. Give me a second.
I'm gonna go 23 for 34 for 263 yards and 1 touchdown. Actually, yeah, I'm going to go 1 touchdown, but I'm kind of feeling 2. But let's just keep it at 1. Everybody put their predictions down in the comments below. He's going to have to pass the ball a little bit more than usual. I think that's going to be a lot of those passes to J.D. McKissick. We'll see. Merrill Garrett, I really appreciate the donation. Yeah, the Niners don't have a great pass rush, and part of that is because of Bosa being out. Solomon Thomas isn't terrible. They still got some guys there, Eric Armstead, but yeah, they've got a lot of injuries that they've been dealing with. So yeah, again, appreciate the donation. So and their secondary, they got Richard Sherman and Jason Verrett. So they've got a solid secondary. And yes, Jordan Reed is playing. So what's your prediction, Juan?
Yeah, so to look back at the stats, yeah, he was 31 for 46, 296 yards last game. I don't think he's gonna reach that much. Like you said, he's gonna have to pass more in this game, but I feel like the running game is gonna actually percolate better than what we think. The only thing that I'm nervous about with the running game is J.D. McKissick's ball security. But if he can have secure the ball and no turnovers, we win this game comfortably, and also he's gonna get in a groove. So I feel like Alex Smith is gonna have 200 yards. No, that's too much in my opinion. I'm gonna say 180 for 2 touchdowns, and I'm gonna say, what am I feeling? I'm gonna say 25 for 36.
So yeah, that's funny that you said that because after you said the number, I was revising mine, and I actually said exactly 25 for 36. I just wrote that down. So I'm going to say 25 for 36, but I'm going to go 270 yards. 270 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. And yeah, so I'm going to read some of the comments. Alex Smith said that he's going to throw for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. So hey, Alex, hopefully you do that tomorrow. Hopefully you ball out for that.
But if he's throwing for that much, that means it's either a close game or one we're either getting blown out in the first half.
Hey, he said he's throwing for 350 and 4 touchdowns. So I think if he throws for 4 touchdowns, we're safe.
Oh.
Um, what's up, Redskin 007? Yeah, they're really well coached. 243 touchdowns, 221 touchdown. Three. We already read that. Smith 190, 1 touchdown. Let's see any more. So yeah, that's it for him. So now let's go to Terry. So let's see. You go ahead and do your prediction for Terry McLaurin real quick. I'm gonna look something up.
Okay, cool. So with Terry McLaurin, like I said last week, he was pretty much taken away out of the game after the first quarter, and specifically after that first drive. You know what I'm saying? After those was it two? I think it was 2 catches that he made, 2 or 1 catch that he made.
2.
He was targeted only 2 more times after that, and he dropped both of them. I don't think teams like that will face again this season. Like I said, teams will try to look at that game and try to take McLaurin similar to what the Pittsburgh Steelers. They don't possess the talent that the Pittsburgh Steelers possess on the back end. So I feel like Terry McLaurin is going to have a better game this game. I feel like he's going to have I'm gonna go out on a limb and say 12 receptions for 9, and he gets well over that 1K mark in this game.
Okay, so I'm just trying to look at what the 49ers are giving up. I know last week they gave up a bunch of yards to the Bills. Diggs, their number 1 receiver, had about 90 yards. And, I would say Diggs and Terry right now are about on the same level. Diggs might be a little bit better right now. I think, obviously, Terry's going to be better in his career. But against the Rams, they actually did really good. They allowed Woods to only 80 yards and Cooper Kupp to 40. So I'm going to go ahead and say this is tough. I'll go say 6 catches for 86 yards. And yeah, that's 6 catches for 86 yards. And yeah, that's a solid game right there. Now let's go to Cam Sims. So Cam Sims has had a few good games this year. I need him to get to 500 yards this year, and maybe potentially be in position to be one of our starting receivers next year, because obviously he's a starting receiver now for us, but next year with Kelvin Harmon coming back, AGG coming back, possibly signing someone in free agency, maybe Cam Sims won't be a starter. So I think he's playing for that spot. Obviously, he's going to be on that roster next year because he's shown that he can be a solid receiver. Not only that, but actually do really well on special teams. So I'm going to say, I'm actually kind of feeling a touchdown for Cam Sims. I don't know why. They kind of had that fade ball to him in the end zone last week against the Steelers. He should have caught that. He didn't really high point the ball really well, but I think they're gonna go to that again. So I'm gonna say 4 catches for 64 yards. 4 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown, because 4 catches isn't a lot, but he gets a lot of yards after a catch. I mean, last game he had pretty much 2 screens, and those screens all together came up for like 60 yards.
Yeah, similar to you. I had him around 5 receptions for 72 yards and a touchdown. For some reason, I'm feeling like Cam Sims' touchdown too. And he always, outside of Terry McLaurin, is always looking for the yak. And I don't know if you guys caught Ron Rivera's presser today, but he actually said they asked him about the wide receiver 2 position and has Cam Sims earned it. He says, well, yeah, pretty much he basically has really, but he says we have Kelvin Harmon coming back next year. And he also said that he wants to see more consistency out of Cam Sims in order to ensure that he will be the number 2 receiver. So to put that out there, guys, I don't think we are as much need of a wide receiver in free agency or the draft that we seen. Yeah, Kelvin Harmon, Cam Sims are not big names. You know what I'm saying? Of course, they're not big names, but they are good players. So if you allow them young guys to develop, we could have our own guys on our roster, and we don't have to go out and get guys. Now, I'm not saying that we don't need to. I would go out and get a receiver in the free agency if he's there and there's the right amount of price. But if we have our own guys to let them get better, why not go for it? But back to Cam Sims, I think I said 5 catches for 72 yards and a touchdown.
And yeah, I mean, this is a little bit off topic, but since you brought up wide receivers, I think that I, at the very minimum, want to sign a veteran wide receiver this offseason. Not necessarily someone like Juju, Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin, but someone at the very minimum that if he plays 14 plus games, he's going to get you 500 plus yards because we had none of those guys. None of those guys on this roster that are 500 plus yards locks. So maybe someone like what's his name? Kenny Stills. What's the receiver? Marvin Jones, stuff like that. That's what I would go for at the very minimum. And Tony P56, thank you so much for the $2 donation. Thank you both for doing what you do, man. No problem. I love doing this. And thanks for coming onto the stream. And thank you for the donation. So, yeah, Curtis Samuel as well. So, I'll go with J.D. McKissick right now. So, this is going to be this could be a huge J.D. McKissick game. I mean, both in the run game in the pass game. I'm in the middle on this one because I just don't know because they know, like the 49ers know we're going to just keep dropping the ball out to J.D. McKissick. So you would think that they would know to cover him and put a really good guy on him. But I'm going to say J.D. McKissick gets, let's see, I'm going to go 9 carries for, I'm going to say 9 carries for 45 yards. I'm going to say 6 catches. Actually, I'm going to go 7 catches. He had 10 catches, right, last game?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go 7 catches for 7 yards. So he's going to have close to 100 yards, and I think he's going to get a touchdown. And real quick, Jack Package, thank you so much for the $5 donation. I appreciate it so much. So yeah, what do you think about J.D. McKissick? What his stats?
Oh, okay. But so I've been waiting for this all day. J.D. McKissick, man, I feel like he's gonna have his best game yet, man. I honestly do. So I'm gonna say for carries, I'm gonna say 5 carries for 42 yards, and I'm gonna say he's gonna have 8 receptions for 100 yards. I really do. I feel like he's gonna bring yards game. I'm feeling it, man. I feel like it's gonna be a big game, and with Antonio Gibson going down, he's gonna have a bigger role, and I feel like he's gonna go over 100 yards for this game. I'm feeling it. He had a big game versus Pittsburgh, and I'm predicting for him to go over his 100-yard mark for the first time. That's my bold prediction.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets over 100 yards, period, like 100 yards just in terms of rushing and receiving combined, I think that's going to be good enough for me, and I think we'll have a good chance of winning that game. So now on to Logan Thomas, who before this game, actually, before he had his breakout game, I said I think he could be a tight end 1 for us. And the more I've thought about it, and especially after the game, I think he is that guy. I think because here's the thing you have to think about with tight ends. How many tight ends can you truly say right now in the NFL that are elite tight ends? How many? George Kittle, Travis Kelce, and Darren Waller. That's 3 right there. There's some solid tight ends, TJ Hawkinson, Mark Andrews, Zach Ertz has had a huge down year, but he's elite when he's at his peak. But you're not really going to get those elite guys often. You're going to get super lucky in the draft to get a guy like that. So to have someone like Logan Thomas, who's on pace for 600 yards and 7 touchdowns in his first year as a tight end 1. So I think he's only going to improve. He's only improved this year. So I think you bring him back next year, he gets you like 700 yards, 650. So I think he's our tight end 1. I really do believe what I really think we need to do is draft a tight end or sign a tight end, a solid backup, because you want to have those 2 tight end sets, but also if Logan goes down, you need to have someone solid. So that's why I'm kind of in the, camp of draft a tight end. I'd rather not go early, like 3rd round, but 4th to 5th or 6th round, You get a guy who, these late round tight ends have big potential. So have him sit behind Logan Thomas for a bit, and maybe he can develop into a star as well. Now to get back on track, my stat prediction for him, I did him dirty last week. I predicted him I don't know what I predicted. I did not predict a lot for him. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to go 5 catches for I'm going to go 5 catches for 49 yards. Not a huge day, but definitely a solid day for Logan Thomas.
I'm gonna say 7 receptions for 88 yards and a
You said
touchdown.
3? You said 3 receptions?
I said 7 receptions
Oh,
for
okay.
88 yards and a touchdown. I feel like Logan Thomas is going to continue to have a strong performance. I feel like he's going to build off the performance that he had last week versus Pittsburgh. I also feel like he's going to, similar to Cam Sims, he's out to prove it and prove that he could be that tight end one. And in Cam Sims, defense, he's going to go out and try to continue to prove that he could be the wide receiver to the long term McLaurin. I feel like we still should draft the tight end one. That's just me. But if Logan Thomas continues to go out here and ball at the later stretch of the season, and if we make the postseason, if he balls in the postseason, then we can have a serious question about him being the tight end one. But as of right now, I would still go out and draft a tight end. You're muted, Pedro.
Sorry, I was talking I was on the other tab, wasn't even looking. So now on to a fun one. Let's go ahead and do Peyton Barber. So this one is going to be interesting. This one's going to be interesting. Peyton Barber, I'm looking at his stats right now. That's why I was muted. I was looking at his stats. So he on the year, let's look. So obviously doesn't get a lot of yards per carry. So this year for Washington, he is averaging 2.7 yards a carry. So that is not very great at all. And Mr. Solid, I never said Logan Thomas was elite. I never said that. But a tight end one is just a top, a guy that's a solid starter. And I think Logan Thomas can be that guy for you. If you really want an elite tight end, then sure, go ahead and do that in the draft. But I think that Logan Thomas can be in that discussion for top 10 tight end next year or beyond. I think obviously right now, not necessarily, but he's got about 450 yards and 5 touchdowns, and we got him for really, really cheap. So Peyton Barber averaging about 2.7 yards per carry on the year. I'm going to go, this is a tough one. I'm going to go 12 carries. I'm going to go, I'm going to go 12 carries for 12 carries for 43 yards and a touchdown. 12 carries, 43 yards, and a touchdown. And you might not think that's a big day, but for Peyton Barber, that's a huge day, yards per carry wise. I mean, that's like 3.6 or something. So around that, 44 yards.
Well, for Peyton Barber, I don't see him being that guy that having a big day even with Antonio Gibson's absence, because Peyton Barber is a guy that you keep on the roster just to so for short yardage runs, which he was typically doing. He's going to actually have a bigger role, but in my opinion, I feel like he isn't going to have it. I feel like he's going to have 7 carries for 26 yards, and who knows, and 26 yards could be big runs, but I just don't think he's going to have a big day.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna have a big day either. I just think he's gonna have a big day for him per se. I think for him it's gonna be a good game. Talon Ho, thank you so much for the $2 donation. He said, "Why not? Can we sign David Njoku?" So yeah, I mean I like David Njoku, and again appreciate the donation. David Njoku, solid tight end, really has had 2 bad seasons in a row. I'm not exactly sure what his stats are for Cleveland, and I don't think they picked up his options. So if he's available this year, I would definitely go ahead. I mean, this year on the season, he has 9 catches for 107 yards. So they're kind of just wasting him. They're wasting him down there. There's got to be a reason, though. I really wanted him this past offseason, in a package for in that Trent trade, but I don't know. I really liked him. I still would take a flyer on him. I guess now that we kind of have at the very minimum a solid tight end, I would bring him in because that could be your tight end one potential. Not necessarily guarantee that he's going to be a tight end one or he's going to be an elite tight end, but he's at the very minimum would be a capable backup. What do you think about David Njoku?
I don't know because a year or two, I was thinking this guy was going to be on the cusp of becoming an elite tight
Yeah,
end.
me too.
But injuries and then just the lack of how the Cleveland Browns use him now, I'm not sure if I'm ready to even pull the trigger on him as a tight end too. You know what I'm saying? Because what is the purpose of bringing him in even as a tight end too if he's not going to be healthy? You know what I'm saying? I would rather go spend that money on another one on a number one tight end. Sorry about that. If we're going to go out and spend money on a free agent, or if we're going to draft one, I still want a tight end one. But what's the best of picking a tight end two if he's going to not be active?
Yeah, so now this is gonna be like kind of weird. I think it's just too hard to predict like Steven Sims, Isaiah Wright, Dontrell Inman. So for this one, it's gonna be all three of them combined. So what you think about that? So I'll give you a second to think, and I'm gonna think too. So Dontrell Inman, I actually think he's like this might come to might like I don't know. I just don't. I think he's done here. Like not done, but like he. I think his playing time has been decreasing and decreasing, and I think that block that he missed on that fourth down, which we would have gotten if he made that block, I think that was the final straw, and I think they're gonna keep playing the young guys. I think he's done here. I really do. What's up, Roger? Not necessarily done in terms of like us cutting him, but I don't think he's gonna get much playing time. So I'm gonna say Steven Sims, Isaiah Wright, and who's the other guy? Dontrell Inman. I'm gonna say 4 catches. No, 5 catches for 50 yards. 5 catches for 50. 5 catches for 45 yards. 45.
So this is for all of them combined.
For Inman, Isaiah Wright, and Steven Sims, yeah.
Well, for them combined, I'm gonna go out and say 6 catches for 32 yards. And I don't see. I'm gonna just go out there and say, no, I don't see Emmett being the reason why they have 6 receptions. I think Sims is gonna have 3. He might have 1, and I think I think Isaiah Wright might have 2, maybe.
Yeah, I like Isaiah Wright. I really do. I mean, especially as an undrafted free agent, he's been, he hasn't had those big numbers, but he's actually been solid and he's been open a lot of times. Alex just hasn't been able to get him the ball. So, we'll see. We'll see about Isaiah Wright. I do think he might be on the roster next year. That's the tough thing. Like, we have a lot of solid receivers. We just don't have guys that are going to be solid receivers. I mean, think about it. Like, think about our receivers right now. You got Terry McLaurin. You got Cam Sims. That's 2. AGG. That's 3. Kelvin Harmon. That's 4. And then Isaiah Wright and Steven Sims. That's 6. Those are guys that are solid. But I mean, you're going to bring someone else up in free agency or in the draft. So one of those guys isn't going to be here. So Steven Sims, Isaiah Wright, one of those guys might not be, or even Cam Sims. I mean, one of those guys isn't going to be there because, I mean, that puts you at 7 with them or 6, I think. And you're usually, you carry 6 players and you're going to have to draft. You're going to probably draft a guy and possibly sign someone in free agency. So Talon Ho, thank you so much for the $2 donation. And yes, David Njoku is way better than Jeremy Sprinkle. I never want to see Jeremy Sprinkle on the field again. I really do not want to see him. I mean, how do you not pick up that fumble? Oh my, I was just so, I wasn't surprised. I mean, it's Jeremy Sprinkle. I mean, he can't catch a ball. He can't pick up a ball. He can't do anything. I mean, Jeremy Sprinkle, oh my gosh. I mean, sure, he can block all right, but I mean, that only gets you so far. I mean, we got to get a solid backup. We got to get a solid backup that can play all right and be a solid blocker. So we'll see if we get that in the draft or free agency. or if we don't at all. Yeah, if we would have lost the Steelers game, Roy, it would have been, I would have blamed it on Jeremy Sprinkle, too. So I think that's everybody on offense. There's a couple others like Javon Leak, but I doubt he has a huge game. So now let's go on to the defense. How many sacks do you think we will have on defense?
I think honestly, it's gonna be one of our higher games because, like I told you earlier in the stream when we first started, every time we play against defensive, or not defenses, excuse me, backup quarterbacks, we tend to smell blood in the water. And I think today, this tomorrow's game is gonna be one of our higher games too. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say we have 5 sacks, and most of them are come from the right side, not Trent Williams. I think Trent Williams is gonna only give up 1 sack, and that's to Chase Young, maybe 2, but I'm gonna go with 1. And I think the rest of the sacks come from the right side or the interior. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say 5, 1 for Chase, 2 for Montez, because he's gonna be working up against a right tackle who's actually supposed to be playing right guard. And I believe the right guard got hurt, so he got kicked out of right tackle or vice versa. And and I think the rest are gonna come from the Bama boys up front, maybe even Tim Settle.
Do you know if Tom Compton is their starter? Is he a starter for them?
I thought Tom Compton's a lineman, right? Okay,
Yeah, because he's out, so I don't know if he was a starter or not.
I don't think he was a starter because I was listening to a 49ers YouTuber earlier, and I don't think he was a starter. I don't think he was a starter.
Okay. So I don't have us having a huge game just because I kind of looked back since like week 9-ish, week 8, their amount of sacks that they've given up, and it's actually not been much at all. It's been like 2-ish a game. So a lot of games with 0. So I'm gonna go ahead. Just because of the injuries, I was gonna say 2, but I'm gonna go ahead and say 3. Yeah, I know Tom Compton was on our team. I was just wondering if he's a starter now for them. But yeah, I'm gonna say 2 to 3 sacks. I think it's gonna come from the interior though. I don't think Chase is gonna get a sack. I don't. I hope he does. I really hope he does. This is actually one of the first weeks I haven't predicted him to get a sack, so maybe that'll work and he will get a sack. I'm gonna say Montez still gets a sack. I'm gonna say Jonathan Allen gets a sack, and then I'm gonna say Deron Payne and Tim Settle get half a sack each to get us to 3 sacks. And so let's go into. So I'm gonna give you guys a bold prediction I have. It's just random and it's just like a feeling I have. And then Juan, if you have any bold predictions, go ahead and say it. So my bold prediction for this game is that, and I mean yeah, I'll just say it. I think we're gonna see CJ Beathard. I know that's like a weird prediction. I just have a feeling, because we've played him the last time we played the 49ers, or no, the time before that with Alex Smith, I think we played against CJ Beathard, and I just remember that. And I also saw why do I keep saying Nick Follins? Nick Mullins get benched against the Eagles. So that's my bold prediction. CJ Beathard plays either due to an injury or because of a benching. What do you think about that, and what's your bold prediction if you have one?
Well, that's a big bold prediction for season see CJ Beathard, but it's not no surprise. You know what I'm saying? This defense is crazy good, and we could get to the point where we blow them out to the point, which I hope we do. I don't see it happening, but I hope we do, to the point where they actually have to bench him. You know what I'm saying? And see if they can get a spark with CJ Beathard. If you guys don't remember, when CJ Beathard came into the game early in the season, when Nick Mullins got benched versus the Eagles, he actually gave him a spark, and they almost came back. And they almost came back. And if they would have gave him the game from the beginning, I feel like they could have won that game. But I digress. That's not a bold statement, in my opinion. It's a bold statement to think of it now. But if this team comes out clicking on all cylinders, you might that bold prediction might actually come true. But to my bold prediction, I already said it earlier, but I'll throw another one in there. The one that I said earlier was that J.D. McKissic was going to have over 100 yards. But another bold prediction, I'm going to go out and say that Ronald Darby gets his first interception of the Washington football team this season.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen. I mean, a lot of these things are not necessarily luck, but when it comes to predicting it, like, you just have to, like, we're just throwing out stuff there, and hopefully Both of the actually, I don't know if I want to see CJ Beathard because I guess I do because most likely it means that Mullins is playing terrible, and if he was playing terrible, we're probably winning. But I think CJ Beathard is low key pretty solid. I mean, he almost beat us the last time he played us, um, a couple years ago, and then he played pretty well against the Eagles. And hey, we got 100 people in here almost, so make sure you guys subscribe, like the stream, and make sure you guys subscribe to Juan Gotti. Link in the chat. Yeah, Philip. Gibson's probably going to be out for, I think, at the earliest. Who knows? We're not doctors. We don't. I mean, it could be a worse version or a way better version of turf toe or less severe version, and he could be back against the Seahawks. I think personally, though, that most likely he's going to be back at the earliest against the Panthers. But yeah, also everyone drop your bold predictions in a chat. Let's go ahead and read them, and then we'll go through kind of for a few minutes here. We'll talk about our playoff chances, and then also the biggest holes on this team. So, what's up, Math? What's up, Roy's? So, yeah, anyone have any bold predictions? And if not, we will talk about the biggest holes on this team, and then playoffs. So, okay. So let's go and talk about biggest holes on this team. So besides quarterback, give me your top three holes on this team. And King Sean said, well, actually, two bold predictions. Thomas said Troy Apke will have a pick six. And then King Sean said Kendall Fuller will get a pick six. Hey, I hope both happen.
Yeah, so I feel like both. I feel like I not actually say shit. I feel like I should say I hope they happen. But as far as the biggest holes, one obviously is linebacker. We see that, and more specifically from the middle linebackers, Cole Holcomb and Kevin Pierre-Louis are going to be your starting outside linebackers next year. I assume, unless they make a move in the offseason, which I highly doubt because they've both been playing really good, especially Cole Holcomb. I feel like KPL was another good signing, like Ron Rivera said. He's just a guy that never really got his chance to start, and he got his chance to start, and he took his big advantage of it. So I think those be your two outsides, and I think we need to get a great middle linebacker, whether that's through the draft or free agency. And outside of middle linebacker, there's not really no big hole. You know what I'm saying? As far as middle linebacker, I feel like it's more so that we want to fill the hole because of we want star names or at least that first round talent. But if you really look at it outside of quarterback and middle linebacker, we don't really have a big hole. Maybe tight end, maybe safety. But as of right now, if you ask me outside of linebacker and quarterback, would you be fine with rolling with the same roster 2021? Yes, I would. You know what I'm saying? Deshay's Everett's holding down. Cameron Kerr's going to only get better. Deshay's Everett's only going to get better. Landon Collins is going to come back at the start of 2021. He's going to work his way back in probably around week 5-ish, week 6. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion because I know Achilles don't heal as fast as other things. You know what I'm saying? And then at linebacker core, all we need is a middle linebacker. Defensive line, we know it's solid. Offensive side of the ball, maybe a left tackle, but outside of left tackle, I'm fine with our offensive line. Chase Roulier is phenomenal. Brandon Sheriff is obviously the second best right guard in all of football, in my opinion. Left guard has been phenomenal by Wes Martin, Wes Schweitzer. I wish it was Wes Martin, but Wes Schweitzer. Right tackle, Morgan Moses, a stud. People saying he had his worst game. Yeah, maybe he had his worst game, but let's just be honest. In my opinion, that hands to the face call was BS. And outside of that, he's been balling. So the offensive line has been really well outside of left tackle. So maybe middle linebacker and left tackle, but safety, I'm good with safety.
Okay, so this is my order, of course, besides quarterback, because we have a quarterback, but we don't have our quarterback in the future. So that's the most obvious one. But what I would say, number one, linebacker, get a stud linebacker in the draft, or at the very least, get a capable linebacker in free agency. So at the very least, I mean, and so that could be Brown, like you're talking about, Juan Gotti, or it could be, in the draft. Micah Parsons, we're probably not going to be able to draft him. Maybe Dylan Moses in the second. And then my second one would be wide receiver number 2. So We'll see what Kelvin Harmon does, and AGG. But I want to go ahead, maybe draft someone or sign someone that you think can get 500 plus yards in a season. So Kenny Stills, Marvin Jones, someone like that, or in the draft in rounds, in the later rounds, third to fifth. And then the third one, a lot of people were saying in the chat, left tackle. I think the thing is what I'm kind of struggling with, and it depends on what we do in free agency. Because if we bring back Sheriff and Roulier, then it's tough because I think Wes Schweitzer's a good starter. I think he is, and Moses is too. So that only hole is left tackle, and you have Sadiq, right? You have Sadiq. The only thing with Sadiq is he doesn't stay healthy. So I think he's going to be a stud, but you don't know if he's going to be able to stay healthy, and can you really rely on that? So what I would say is get at least a solid backup. And what's up, Taylor? Philip B, thank you so much for the $3 donation. Bold prediction: we will win the NFC East. Hey, that's not too bold. I think the Giants are definitely a little bit. They have the advantage because of the tiebreaker, but if it wasn't the tiebreaker, I think we would be the favorites. And we got the easier schedule. I really hope we do, though. I think we have a solid shot, and we'll have a way better idea after tomorrow. And if we both lose tomorrow, I like our chances. If we win or if we lose and they win, that's going to be a little bit tough. I honestly think it's going to be like we both win or we both lose for some reason. I just have that feeling. So yeah, that's kind of my biggest holes on this team. And now, Juan, what do you think? Do you think we make the playoffs, and at what record do you think we make the playoffs at?
Yeah, I do think we made the playoffs. My big playoff prediction, whether we make it or not, was really hanging in the balance for the Pittsburgh Steelers game. But the way we played in the Pittsburgh Steelers game kind of for sure that. And like you said, and like Ron Rivera said, we only got to focus on what we can control. We don't need to worry about the New York Giants. But I kind of got off topic there. Back to your question: do I think we make the playoffs? Yes, I do. I think we make the playoffs at 8-8. I really want to say we're gonna win out and beat Seattle. I feel more comfortable with the Seattle win more than I do this game for some reason, but I feel like we might not win that game. But heck of it. Why not? I think we're gonna win out. Why not? Go 9-7 and go into the playoffs with confidence. 9-7, book it right here. We make the playoffs.
I like the confidence. So I'm saying 8-8. I think just think about that. I mean, if you would have told me week 6 of the season, we go 8-8, I'm like, you're crazy, bro. So 8-8 would be amazing. And I think we have the chance to win out, but obviously, I mean, it's the NFL. You're gonna lose games you shouldn't lose. And what's funny? This is off topic. Well, I was realizing earlier today, I was like, man, it feels like 3 years ago that Dwayne Haskins was our starter. Like, even though that was only 2 months ago, like, I don't know if it's just me, but that feels like it was so long ago, and it was really only 8 weeks ago. Real quick, what do you think? Like, what's your feeling on that?
Oh yeah, definitely for sure, man. Like you said, it just felt like a whole new season with Kyle Allen and then Alex Smith. Yeah, I agree with you, man. And Dwayne Haskins, it sucks, man. But don't rule him out for getting another chance here. But I wouldn't be surprised if he get traded. But that weren't even talking about that. Back to your statement, yeah, it feels like another season for some reason.
Yeah, so I think I want to say I'm gonna say 8 wins. I think 8 wins gets you in the playoffs, either in the wild card or in the or for the division. I think either way you're winning, you're gonna make the playoffs at 8-8. Gonna be a little bit tougher for the wild card, but I think that things go your way, you can make that. You can make the playoffs. So I'm gonna say 8-8. I would not be surprised if we go 7-9. Wouldn't also be that surprised if we went 9-7. So I'm gonna go somewhere in the middle. Because I think we beat the Panthers and I think we beat the Eagles, so that puts us at 7. And we just got to win one of these next two. If we win one of these next two, I'm very confident in our chances. Sorry about that. I'm very confident in our chances to make the playoffs. So, the Giants, they've got a tough schedule, and if they lose tomorrow if they get killed by the Cardinals, I'm gonna feel a lot better regardless of our situation because they play the Browns and the Ravens. They at max win one of those two. I do not like their matchup against the Ravens. I don't think they win that game. So, and maybe they beat the Browns, but the Browns are also a solid team. So, I think they're going to win 1 to 2 more games. So they're at 5 wins right now. So I think they're going to be either 6 to 7 wins, and that could totally change tomorrow. I'm going to have a way better feeling tomorrow after this Cardinals game. So I'm going to say 7 wins for the Giants. 7, but it's 6 to 7 for me. But if we win, if we win tomorrow, or if they lose, then we're gonna have a way better picture. But they have a tough schedule, and don't even rule out. Obviously the Cowboys suck, and they're probably gonna win them, but that's not necessarily a guarantee either. Dalton's been playing better, and it's a divisional game. It's a divisional game, so you never know what's gonna happen. So we'll see what they do, and we'll see if Daniel Jones continues to stack good games because he's due for a turnover. Come on, guys. So what's your record prediction for the Giants? What do you think we need to get to win this division?
Yeah, so like I said, what's fun without making predictions? I said that's going 9-7, but more realistically, we'll go not 8-8. But for the Giants, these 2 games are very important for them. The Cardinals and the Dallas Cowboys games are their 2 must-win games, and if they don't win this game tomorrow, I see them going 6-10. Honestly, man, because I don't see them winning no more game outside of the Cardinals and the Cowboys.
They don't beat the Ravens. I just don't think the Ravens are a good matchup for them. That's just my thought.
I think the Ravens are going to win out, man. They have such a favorable schedule, and I think they're going to get back to the football that they played last year that led them to that number 1 seed. So I think they're going to win out. And we're back to the Giants. I don't see them winning, but no more games besides the Cardinals or the Cowboys game. And this could very well change if they win tomorrow. I feel like they will finish the season 8-8 if they win tomorrow, or maybe even 7-9. But if they lose tomorrow, like I have a feeling they will lose, I feel like they're going to go 6-10, which I'm hoping they do lose. The Giants, they have a tough schedule, and they really only have 2 gimme wins that aren't really gimme wins left on their schedule.
Yeah, they're going to win 1 to 2 more games this season. It just comes down to if they win 2, we got to win 3. If they don't win 2, we just got to win 2 games, and we're in the playoffs at 7-9, which, I mean, is not that embarrassing. I mean, like, if we would have won the division at 5-11 or 6-10, I would still be happy about it, but it's a little bit like you're the worst division winner of all time, but there's been 7-9 division winners before. So, and what's funny is we could be 8-8. We could win the division at 8-8. We could win the division at 9-7. I mean, it's probably not going to happen, but it could happen. And everyone was clowning us, the whole NFC East, and it would be insane. And it's like I said, probably not going to happen. But there could be 2 teams that make the playoffs out of the NFC East if let's say we win 9 games, or no, we win 8 games and they win 8. Maybe we make the playoffs. We'll see, depending on what happens. What's up on the Warpath? So we're gonna take a few more questions. And Juan, what do you like? What position do you want to draft in the first round? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, before I get to your question, King Sean says the Ravens won't win out. I beg to differ. Come on, man. Look at their schedule. Call me crazy, and people are going to just say this because of their record. I have them beating the Browns Monday night, and then after that, they have the Jaguars, Giants, and Bengals. I have them going 11-5. People are going to say that they won't beat the big Browns because they're 9-3, and the Ravens are 6-5. The Browns, they're good. Trust me, they are really good, but I just don't see them beating the Ravens, especially on primetime football. But that's off topic here. I digress once again. Back to your point and your question at hand. I'm going to continue to go with my gut. And I believe, what did I say? I forgot last time you asked me this question. I forgot what I said. But I'm going to go. That's tough. I'm going to go. I'm going to go. I don't know, because I don't want to say we're going to get a receiver because we know we don't have to get one, because not only do we have receivers on the roster, but also we're good at drafting late round receivers. Then I don't want to say quarterback because, in my opinion, I don't think we need to draft a quarterback in this very draft or even in first round. And then middle linebacker, they might be too high. And offensive lineman, I feel like it's not that much of a need that we really think it is. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say we draft a wide receiver.
Okay. What's up on the warpath? And let's see who I. And my score prediction you asked, someone asked, was 24-21 Washington. So something that I just don't like, and this is a little bit off topic. I don't like people saying that they don't want to see us win this year and they just want to see us get a quarterback because they don't think you can win with average quarterbacks in the NFL, or they don't think that you can get quarterbacks late round, and I don't agree with that at all. You see Colt McCoy, and obviously that's not gonna be consistent, but Colt McCoy went out to Seattle and beat them because they had a good running game and they had a good defense. That's what we have. That's what we have with Gibson in. So I think we could win 9+ games with Alex Smith next year and our team healthy. And again, here's another thing. You don't have to, like, if we make the playoffs and we're picking at 19, you don't have to pick your guy at 19. You can trade up. Look at what the Chiefs did. I know you don't want to, people don't like comparing to Patrick Mahomes every time, but they were not drafting in the top 10. They weren't. They traded up. They traded up from wherever they were picking in the 20s, somewhere in the 20s, I think. And they traded up, I believe, to the 12th overall spot, and they drafted Patrick Mahomes. So people saying that making the playoffs is not a good idea, and yes, Rico, I'm talking to you. I don't agree with that. I think making the playoffs is a great thing. Like Juan, you always say, these guys are hungry. These guys are hungry. To you want them to get that taste. So and it develops the winning culture. So I think winning is important, and getting to the playoffs would be amazing.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I don't want to lose out. I don't want to tank to get a higher draft pick. If we get Zach Wilson, we get Zach Wilson. Trey Lance, if we get Trey Lance, we get Trey Lance. Whatever, guys. We still have Alex Smith for another year. We still have 2 young quarterbacks on the roster, which I don't think we're going to go with next year. But I'm just saying, just to tell you guys, once again, we don't have to draft a quarterback in the first round. You know what I'm saying? I know you guys have an obsession with Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson. I know you guys have an obsession with Trey Lance. Trust me, they will be great assets to this team. But why would you guys want a better quarterback than to have experience winning when you have the chance to? And especially in your first year with your head coach. You know what I'm saying? I don't agree with tanking and losing to get a quarterback. I understand you guys want them so bad. But trust me, guys, there are other quarterback aspects that are going to be in this draft this year and even out in 2021. And like I said again, like I keep saying every week, if we really want our guy in this draft, especially in the first round, we'll find a way to trade up. We'll find a way to trade up. You know what I'm saying? If we're sitting at 19 after we win this division and go into the playoffs, if we do win this division, if we're sitting at 19, we can trade up to 11, 12, 13, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I guarantee you, after Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence go, a lot of people think that it's going to go Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, or Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, however you want to put it. Then they think immediately Trey Lance and Zach Wilson are going to immediately get off the board. I don't think so. I feel like they're going to slip. I feel like Zach Wilson and Trey Lance are going to slip to between 11 to 15, similar to Dwayne Haskins. So if we're at 19 and then you see that they possibly could still be there, more specifically Zach Wilson or Trey Lance, going to be there around the 15 or 13 range, trade up with that team and give them your pick and possibly a second round. I know a lot of people don't want to give up the second round because we haven't had one in a while, but trust me, guys, the history of this team, we haven't been good at drafting second round picks. So give up your first round pick this year that you were going to have, that's 19, and maybe your second round pick to move up and get Zach Wilson. That's just I'm thinking, but I don't know if that's what we're going to do. That's just my understanding and my thinking because I really want to win this division. I don't agree with drafting or taking a draft. The guy that I want to draft, and I know I'm kind of rambling. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You're good.
Oh, my fault. But I don't want to continue to ramble. But the guy that I truly think that we're going to get, if he does come out of the draft, or not get, but I think that we should take, and if he's not going to come out, if he comes out of the college and enter the draft in the third round, I think we should get De'Aaron King. De'Aaron King is a phenomenal quarterback that's at Miami, and he will run this offense phenomenally. He has the arm strength, he has the speed, and honestly enough, this is kind of funny. He looks like Dwayne Haskins a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, last thing I'll say before we end the stream, getting a top 3 draft pick, top 5 draft pick, top 10 draft pick means absolutely nothing. It means nothing. It doesn't, like, if you can't draft well and if you don't get the right guy, it really doesn't mean anything. And I love Kyle Smith and I love these guys, but and you can be a great talent evaluator and still the quarterback position is super tough. It is super tough, and even if you do everything perfectly surrounding the guy, he might not ball out. And look at the Browns; they sucked for 15 years, and they constantly got top pick after top pick and after top pick, and still sucked. And they finally got good, but that was more of a coaching change in others, not really because of their draft picks. And I think sure draft picks help, but it's more your coaching and your talent evaluators because you can still get absolutely great players in the late rounds. And sure, King Sean, Chase Young was a great pick, and that's a great player to get. But you said Baker Mayfield. I mean, he's the third best quarterback. You said Baker Mayfield's the third best quarterback in his draft class. I mean, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, who were both drafted after him, are better quarterbacks. So that's all I'm gonna say. Sure, I mean the top players like Chase Young, generally generational talent. You know he's gonna be a stud. That's great, but I think you can still get good quarterbacks in the middle of the first round or even later. And if you really want to, you can trade up. So thank you guys, everyone, for coming in here. I appreciate everyone for coming in here. I appreciate the support. Hopefully we get that win tomorrow. At least, at the very least, if we lose, let's keep it competitive. I do not want to blow out. So, thank you guys for coming in here. Make sure you guys sub up Juan's to Juan Gotti's channel. Link in the chat real quick. Make sure you guys sub him up. Any last words, Juan?
Last words, Kevin said he doesn't want a black quarterback. I don't know what race has to do with it. That's not cool. In my opinion, you shouldn't want a quarterback because he's black. And then the last thing is, King Sean actually said that Miami got blown out today. Yes, they did, but De'Aaron King had, I believe he was, let me see right quick before we get out of here. He was 18 for 30, 239 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. So he had a solid game. And yeah, don't forget, football is a team sport, my man. But other than that, thank you for having me on, man. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, peace.
Yep, no problem. Thanks everyone for coming in here, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.